What's up guys, welcome back to another GGF video. Now today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new ASRock X399 Tiachi motherboard. Now this won't be a review as the boards and CPUs are still under NDA for any performance testing. Plus, I don't have a CPU either. It's on the way, it should be here in a week or two, so I'll definitely be doing some testing then. I'm not going to go over the CPU socket sort of really in this video because every second person's doing that on YouTube at the moment. There's really no need for me to undo it. It looks like they do use sort of standard Torx screws to get it undone, but yeah, there's no need for me to go over that. What I'll be doing is going over some of the main features on the board, the layout. I do have pretty much the exact same board in the Intel variant. This is the ASRock X399 Tiachi, so very similar design. So what I want to do is sort of compare the power delivery on the X299 compared to the X399 on two boards that are pretty much exactly the same from the same brand. So I want to check out power delivery like I just said, and also the power delivery cooling as in the VRM heatsink design and how well that looks. I can't do any testing at the moment, as I said earlier. I just want to see how well that looks and how well I think it will sort of perform towards or against the X299 variant. Now taking a look at the power delivery on the X399, we can certainly see there's a little bit more going on for the power wise than the X299 Tiachi. For the X299 Tiachi, we only have a single 8-pin connector powering the whole board. There's no auxiliary VGA, there's no 4-pin, there's nothing else. Now straight away on the X399, we see we have a standard 8-pin, we have a 4-pin up in this corner, and then we have an auxiliary 6-pin for your VGA cards. Now first of all, you might be wondering why we have a 4-pin in this corner and an 8-pin in this corner. Now I've hit up the ASRock website and they have separated these on purpose. They say separating them produces better power delivery and it's more efficient and it is cooler in temperature wise. Now I'm not sure how that sort of works. I'm not sure how you would even test that to confirm that, but that is what they are saying on their website. Instead, I've seen other companies have sort of two 8-pins here, or there's two 8-pins or a 4-pin next to each other over here. So definitely very interesting. Cable routing is going to be interesting, having one up in this corner, one over here. Now moving down to the 6-pin auxiliary for your video card. Not everyone needs to use this. If you're running one video card, you don't need to have this plugged in. ASRock says on their website for running two cards in SLI, it says it may be required. So that probably means if you're going to have issues, you're running two really beefy GPUs, you're having issues, probably throw in the 6-pin, see how it goes. It'll probably fix any power delivery issues. On the manual it states if you're running 3 cards, yes, you definitely need it. 4 cards, yes, you definitely need it. So it's good they've added that. And I definitely prefer 6-pin rather than a Molex for your auxiliary. It's much easier to run 6-pin than your old school Molex. Taking a look at the sort of cooling for your VRMs. Now that's something else that was brought up on the X299. For X399, if we know that'll be an issue or not, we will soon find out. But certainly we can definitely tell it looks a lot more beefier than the standard X299 Tiachi over here. So X299 was just this little bit here. It's not that small, it's pretty decent, but it's not really offloading any heat anywhere. I think there's 1 or 2 boards that has an extra heatsink around the IO shield that just offloads the heat via a heat pipe. The X399 has a heat pipe that runs along the back here, and then it runs off to this massive side heatsink here. Now I've taken this off just to see if this is just purely an auxiliary heatsink that's offloading the VRMs temperature off, but it's sort of doing both. As what I can see, it is cooling a few VRMs, a few MOSFETs from what I can see. I'm not too technical when it comes to everything it's cooling, but there are a few pads on there, so it is doing something, but it would most likely be transferring, taking some of the heat out of the VRMs. Now the X399 Tiachi has a 11-phase power design with a 60 amp choke. That is pretty beefy, pretty much the same power delivery as the X299. I think that was 12 phases with 60 amp choke as well. But yeah, definitely more cooling, so it'll be interesting to see how well this copes. Certainly, I'm sort of liking how this is going for the X399. And for the ASRock Tiachi on its own, I think so far out of the 4 or 5 boards I've seen on the market, this heatsink solution definitely looks the biggest. I think the Gigabyte is nearly on par, pretty much the same. It's got a beefy side heatsink, but it's not quite as long. But you just can't sort of go in terms by size. It's definitely how it's made and different attributes to the heatsink, how the cooling is going. So I'll definitely get my heat gun out and I'll test these temperatures once my CPU arrives. Taking a look at the chipset heatsink, definitely is just a little bit bigger on the X399. It may be hard to say. I do like it how it's more brushed aluminium than on the X299. It is slightly brushed on the X299, but it's looks more sort of scratched. A few sort of large sort of brushed aluminium scratch marks come up, but on the X399 it's more grey and you can definitely tell it's more brushed aluminium. Moving on to some other features on this board, they've added the U2 connector or U.2 for your NVMe SSD drives. I'm not sure why we still need these anymore. I'm not sure if anyone still sort of purchases those drives. There's not too many out. A lot more people prefer the standard NVMe M.2 on their motherboards, and as you can see, both boards do have the 3. We got 1, 2, 3 and the 1, 2, 3. Now the latest thing that's hit the news is that you cannot do a bootable RAID NVMe setup with the Ryzen X399. That'll be very interesting to check out, but a lot of people are confirming that, so it will be interesting. Like, I must admit, my main system behind me, I run one single NVMe Samsung drive, a 960 Pro. Like, that runs at 3,000 megabytes a second. Would you really need 2 of those in RAID 0? Like, I think for most consumers, they probably don't need it. If they had to take that feature away to have a better capability somewhere else, that's worth it. It's like, that's fair enough. But if they just don't have it because they think they didn't need it, well, maybe they have some explaining to do, but we'll wait and see how that all pans out. I do like on the X399 Tiachi, they've added the power connectors. Not really vital, but it is handy. On the X299, they've got the solder pads, but they don't have the power connectors. Both boards have the Dr. Debug LED. They are pretty much the norm these days. They're on nearly every board, unless it's your real basic board. As for USB headers, we got 3.1, 3.0 here, 3.0 here, different sort of layout. Notice there's no 3.1, the newer 3.1 internal header that runs off to the to your case. I know the ASRock Gaming i9 in the X299 has that setup. I've got the board which I'm working on the review now, but it looks like both the Ryzen Tiachi and the gaming professional board both don't have that USB 3.1 header on the board, so it is a bit interesting why they didn't go with that, because a lot of more cases are going to start bringing them out. As for the RGB, pretty much the same. I just plugged this in before. You don't need the board on, you just need auxiliary power onto it, and you do get the nice glow. If you saw my ASRock X399 review, it's just a subtle glow around the heatsink, which I do like. ASRock aren't sort of going out guns blazing with all their RGB. I think they're just bringing it slowly into the sort of market, and same with the X399, it just glows around the side, which is nice. No other RGB at all. There are RGB strip headers. We've got the one over here, and then there is another one. I did see 2 up over here, so it does have the 2, just like on the X299. It's got the one there and the one up there, so that is good that they have those. Moving on to some of the other features on this board, pretty much fan headers. I'll probably cover all that in the review. I don't really want to go on about all that. Just taking a look at the I/O, it's pretty much exactly the same on the X399. They've just added an extra row of the USB 3.0, so there's a heap of USB on this board, which I do like. I have noticed a lot of high-end boards, they sometimes favor too much of the overclocking features, and they do lack sort of standard devices like USB. I don't mind companies bringing out sort of 1 or 2 high-end overclocking boards, which is good. Some people do like to go down that route, but to sort of sacrifice sort of everyday items on a board just to focus on other features, it's sometimes it's not always needed. Anyway, that's pretty much it I sort of want to cover on these boards. It will be sweet when I get the CPU, throw it in. Once again, really liking the heatsink design, and I really like the board sort of layout. It just looks really aggressive. You may be familiar that the ASRock Tiachi boards, they came out with the black and white. My personal opinion is I do like this stealth grey color. A lot of people saying that they did prefer the black and white. There's not many black and white, but I really think this type of board will go a lot better with most systems, most cases out there being black. Even in a white setup, it does have a nice layout, and you do have your IO cover, pretty much the standard on all sort of mid to high-end boards these days. But yeah, last thing I haven't covered is price. PC Case Gear in Australia has this for $599. And the X399 Tiachi is $499, but it's sold out. So $100 difference there. I'm not sure if this is the set price, the $599. It could just be a placeholder, but I think the 11th, a few days now, we will know for sure. So at the moment, I think the Tiachi is definitely the cheapest board on the market in Australia. I think it's $30 cheaper than I think the MSI. So yeah, things are looking good for the ASRock board, but yeah, when I do get the CPU, I'll definitely be testing it. I'll be throwing it in, doing some overclocking, mainly some temperature tests as well. That's what everyone wants to see. I won't be testing 4-way SLI Crossfire, really not needed. I'll probably just throw in 2 cards. Now I am doing a build for PAX Australia. I will use this board. I want to use this board. I want to do a Threadripper build, and I will go with 2 video cards in that build, so that'll give it a good test once I get that build underway. Anyway, I just want to thank ASRock for sending this board out to do a review, do a build in, and I want to thank you guys for watching, and make sure you stay tuned for my review, and I'll see you in the next video.